Pingers applications allow you to acquire a second number. A lot of customers need temporary numbers that they don't want to necessarily give out. They want their friends and family to have their native number and have a separate number without having a separate cell phone. Software plays an absolutely critical role. There's software that we have that we offer customers, but there's also the software that we use to make our software, and that's where the DevOps side of things would come in. We have a host of applications, most of them surrounded with testing platforms and taking the developer's code. They can run it through a suite of automated tests. We can make sure the code quality is up to standard, so we don't have any manual breaks, we don't have any human touch points. We can essentially say, this is good, push it out the door as quickly as possible. I've actually played the field in terms of looking at others, the Circle CI, the Travis CI. They all have a lot of overlap, but the community that's associated with Jenkins, and you pair that with the professional support that you get with CloudBees, was kind of made it a no-brainer. We jumped straight into the professional services that came along with it and started the education, the learning curve that came with getting to the new kind of pipelines that we're going to have to write. And from there, the adoption was quite easy. It was, we had a lot of in-house knowledge of Jenkins already, but just taking that extra step to say, core is where we want to go. We want to be in the cloud. We want to be running on Kubernetes using the infrastructure that CloudBees currently supports. When I was actually able to show this off to some of the developers who were used to 1 or 2 executors, I asked them how many they thought they would need, and they said 8. And I said, how about 800? And they thought I was kidding, and I'm like, no, I'm serious, and started explaining the scalability that came along with operating in the cloud. But some of the other features like DevOptics is something I use quite frequently with my management because they want to see the benefits of all this time we're spending on these DevOps principles and practices that we're starting to implement over the last years. The most shining example of that is we just launched our first cloud native app, and we went from essentially 1 deploy every 2 weeks to we've had 8 deploys in 4 days. So we essentially, we have 4 months worth of deployments in 4 days, and they can see the benefits directly. And the idea that you can actually on a per story basis release to actual production is so mind-boggling. I think that's just the most exciting part of the whole journey we've had so far, is to see it really happening, which is great. I think one of the most profound ones has been the developer happiness. You're making pretty big changes about the day-to-day, but what you're improving is how developers operate. How quickly can they get out their code? Because a feature will take you 4 times longer than you want it to, versus something that is a PR-based, immediately triggered, you get the feedback within 5 minutes, and developers that's what they want. So I think we've been able to focus on developers and what their problems are. We make developers their lives easier. We unblock them, and they can do what they do best, which is write code.